Hello, I'm Jean Pete, and I welcome you back to our show, Better Living. Better Living is brought to you by the Homestead Hope Foundation and is sponsored by Homestead Hospice, where commitment to education and premier hospice care helps patients and families through life's most important journey. Welcome back. I'm Jean Pete, and I have another great show in store for us this week. I'm here today with Dr. Amy Josephson. She is a life enhancement coach and a professional yoga and meditation coach. And we have lots to talk about. You know, we talk about better living, and we have doctors on the show, and we talk about diseases and prognosis and how to prevent, getting those diseases. And this is a very important show because I'm excited to talk to you today, Dr. Amy J, because I think a lot of what you're going to have to say ties into so many of our past shows. So I'm excited for the show today. Thank you for joining us. And why don't you give us your background?
First, I want to thank you for having me on today.
You're welcome.
It's really good to be here. And, my background is I am a doctor of chiropractic, and I practiced for 11 and a half years. And from an injury, I had to change careers. And I've been doing life coaching. I've been teaching yoga for years and aerobics for years. I'm working with the human body. And to me, the human body is such an immaculate machine, and we really need to take care of ourselves. And it actually starts with something as simple as the breath. And so many people forget to breathe, or they don't breathe correctly. And then that ties us into yoga and really taking time out and meditation so we can clear our minds and get into a healthier place.
Okay, I already have about 16 questions in my head that I want to ask you just from your introduction.
Awesome.
But I want to back up for a minute. So
Okay.
You were a chiropractor.
And still am.
You still are. And you had an injury.
Yes.
And you could not continue to be a full-time chiropractor
Right.
because of your injury.
Right. I'm a non-practicing chiropractor now.
Okay.
Due to the injury. Yes.
I think that's so ironic because so many people are injured and they end up going to the chiropractor to get help.
Exactly. And one of the things that I kept hearing, I call it the voice, okay, kept saying, you're not supposed to hurt to heal. And I am a healer. And so I had to find other ways. And, I've been teaching, and I remember when I first went to teach my first aerobics job, I was going to turn around and not go because I was like, well, I don't really know if I can do this. And basically, when I started to teach and they hired me because of my energy, and they said, I don't even have the beat right. I didn't even know there were 8 beats. So it's crazy that, the things like that. But I'll never forget that people were saying, oh my God, no one's ever told me that before. I've been doing this for 10 years and nobody ever helped me like that. And I just knew that I needed to go into that field. So, and then when I learned about chiropractic, I started doing that. I did aerobics first.
Chiropractor because of an injury.
I left chiropractic because of injury. I'm sorry
Okay.
to confuse you.
I'm a little bit confused.
Okay, I taught aerobics first, and I was in corporate. And then I wanted to know more about the human body, so I decided to go to chiropractic school.
I see.
I then practiced chiropractic, but kept teaching aerobics, and at the end of chiropractic, started teaching yoga.
I see. Okay. And so from your time being a chiropractor how much the body can heal from
Absolutely.
chiropractic practices.
Absolutely.
So let's first start talking about that, and then we'll get into the yoga and the meditation and the breathing and all of that, because I
Okay.
think that's a lot more information for folks out there about how a chiropractor can help them in their daily living than people really know, because it's just recently that we're starting to embrace chiropractors
Right.
as another adjunct of care to help us live healthy.
Exactly. And, it all has to do with the nervous system. And when I do practice chiropractic, for me, it's moving the bones off the nervous system, which sends the blood and the oxygen to all the organs in the body, which help us function properly. So if it's off, that can create disease. And that's what we want to help. And also it creates freedom from injury. And I practiced a lot tying the yoga in with the chiropractic because we do need to stretch. Our muscles are stronger than our bones. So even if you move the bones, in my philosophy, the muscles will pull it back. And that's why a lot of people are under this, feeling that, oh, well, if I start chiropractic, I'm always going to have to go. And I've heard I get addicted. And there are chiropractors that tell you to come, a bunch of times. And for me, I think everybody's body is different. So nobody is going to have the same care plan in, patients that I work with.
So just to back up, because you say so many important things when you speak, and I want to just kind of reel us in a little bit. The bones are not as strong as the muscles.
Right.
And so, I see this.
As far as movement.
I see this at the gym. People will go, they don't stretch, they get right on the treadmill, and then they go right to the machines. And my own sister. And then they pull a muscle, or they move something in their back or their shoulder, and they hurt. And so they're going to the gym, they're working out, they're exercising, they feel like they're strong, they're not doing it right. And they're not stretching their muscles. So then they end up at the chiropractor because they hurt.
Right.
And so that's why it's so important for you to talk about yoga and stretching and doing things right. And I want to implore folks, you have got to stretch before you get on those machines. I see so many people walk right in and get to the machines, right?
Right. And I was a runner, earlier in my life, and I never had patience to stretch. I was like, I'm not stretching. And I see even at the Chattahoochee, people do a 2-second stretch. You really should hold stretches between 35 and 45 seconds. And, it seems like a long time when you're holding a stretch, but it's really important because it also has to send the message to the brain to let you know what you're doing and then allow those muscles to release. And you can't do that in 2 seconds.
And it's not just important to stretch so that you don't get an injury. It's important to stretch because you can end up sitting on that bone, and it does end up affecting your circulation. And you're the expert, so I might be getting this wrong. You can correct me anytime.
Go ahead, you're doing great.
It affects your circulation and your blood flow. Right. And I know from past shows, that's a precursor to stroke and heart attack, and you want to make sure you have good circulation and oxygen running through your body.
Absolutely.
And good blood flow that doesn't end up with that high pressure because it's not working right because you didn't stretch when you were exercising.
Right. And, that's why I also think it's really important even for people to get massages and take care of, loosening the muscles. It is huge. So basically, starting like an ABC, you have your body and your spine. So you have the bones, and in between the bones are discs. And when people get adjusted, there's so many different, just so people know, a lot of people don't like the cracking sound and it makes them nervous. There are so many different techniques to healing through chiropractic. So you have your bones, you have the discs in between, and you have the nerves that come out, which send the blood flow and the oxygen to the body, just like you were saying. So you did great there, Jean.
Thank you.
And so many people just aren't educated on their bodies and what's important. And again, I will say everybody's body's different. So one thing might help one person or heal someone, and something else might heal another person. And that's also when you're doing meditation and yoga, I'm just going to bring that in a second, and taking time out, it allows you to realize that you have to really get in tune to what's going on in your body. We want to have a mind-body connection. And I think that a lot of us are moving so fast that, yes, we get these injuries, but we're also moving so fast that we're not taking care of ourselves.
Absolutely. And, we almost talk about this every show. No matter what the topic is that I'm interviewing someone on, it all goes back to the same thing. Know your body, take care of your body. Your body is your vessel for life.
Absolutely.
And if you're not taking care of it, you're going to cut your life much shorter than you need to.
Right.
So pay attention and get to know it and then take care of it.
Right. And I love what you just said, those two words, pay attention. Because most of us don't pay attention, and we can't because we're rushing so much. And that's where I bring in, the meditation. I think that a lot of people, they say, I don't know how to meditate. I'm very big, I'm doing a lot of corporate work now, going into corporations because everyone's moving so fast, and I'm doing meditation programs where I sit for an hour and I teach different forms of meditation and do some meditation so people can experience it.
And see, Okay, I've been told for about 2 years now that I really need to meditate.
Well, then I'm going to have to help you.
I don't slow down. But, it's a little bit intimidating, the word yoga and the word meditation. If you're really not in tune and you're running a mile a minute, which most of us women are, because we're
Right.
not just taking care of ourselves, we're taking care of our parents, we're taking care of our children, we're taking care of our spouses, we're taking care of everybody we run into.
Right.
And I know I could really use to stop and relax and get in touch and meditate and do yoga. And so since I'm your biggest problem, let's motivate people like me
Yes.
to actually get it done. So how, because you know what? I really don't want to go to some studio and do yoga with a bunch of people. I don't know.
Right.
How do we get people to take that first step? And why is it so intimidating?
I think it's intimidating because it's the unknown. And I basically come from a place of being, the irony is, I'm extremely type A. People will tell you, no, she's not type A, she's triple type A. I never would have walked into a yoga class. I definitely would have never meditated because I can't even sit still. And when I started to do that, I realized the changes it was making in my life. And when it was making changes with me, my changing, not even realizing how much it was occurring, started to change people and the way they reacted towards me. So life started to change. Now I will say,
Whoa.
okay,
Okay, so because you were meditating and doing yoga, you were handling situations better?
Yes.
Is that right? And so then even your personal relationships got better
exactly.
because you were better able to cope.
Right. And I wasn't reacting. I was pausing more. I was breathing more. I was hearing more. Pay attention. I was listening more. I mean, I used to go a mile a minute. You would have had me on this radio show and I'd be talking like this and blah, 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 and you'd be like, okay, stop. And that's what it's about. We have to stop. Every once in a while. And I get off track. I am human and I'll calm myself on it. And when I'm teaching a yoga class and I have, I'm hurting somewhere, I let the class know I might be your instructor, but guess what? I have a hip problem today. So I'm not going to do that because and my thing is to create a safe place that's comfortable for people to come and do yoga. Now, I will say, because you asked me if you're intimidated to go into a studio, and I talk about this all the time, there are DVDs you can go get. You don't even have to buy them. You can go to the library and take them out. That's how I started. I went to a library and I took out a bunch of VHSs, not that I want to give my age away or anything. And I did different ones, and some I was like, oh God, I don't like this. And then I found somebody that it intrigued me, and it was more of a power yoga. That's the kind of yoga I like to do for athletes. And I still work with doing gentle yoga and pregnancy yoga and children's yoga. And I mean, it's just amazing when I started doing it, how much I loved it. And when I started teaching it, I was able to see the difference. I will say that I do have a yoga show that's half-hour segments that's available for free to anybody. So
How do they get access to that?
So you can either go to Positive Energy, the number 4life.com. That's positiveenergy4life.com. And that is my website. And on the left side, it will say AIB TV Yoga Series. And we're about to do a 2013 series. But there's eight shows on there now.
Are they half hour?
They're half-hour shows, so it's a great way to start. Even if you just do 15 minutes of one and just get yourself acclimated and acquainted with it. And I'm very big on form and explaining form and where it's helping and what it's doing. So we're educated.
Well, and one of the things I like about yoga, it can be as difficult if you're an athlete or if you're really not all that healthy. And at any age,
Or athletic or
at any age,
Right.
you can do yoga to help your own body. And, you know, this is a show, a lot of times we're geared towards mature adults and seniors. And
Yes.
when you're talking, I'm thinking about kids. You know, and I'm thinking about all the ADHD in the world. And I have a son who has ADHD, so I understand this as well. And I go a mile a minute. I work like crazy. And I'm always looking for ways to get them off the video games and to bond and connect with them. And I'm thinking this is a great thing. It might sound corny, but this is a great thing for a grandparent to do with a grandchild, or even a mother to do with their kids to keep that bonding going. Because, you know, you have to think of creative ways to get them away from the video games.
Absolutely.
And I imagine it would help children center themselves as well.
Yes, I've actually run children's programs like camps, and the kids love it. It's not the same way you would teach an adult. And you do songs with it, or sometimes I'll bring puppets or I'll create an octopus. And the kids are so flexible when they're younger that if they start at an earlier age, they're going to be so much healthier later on. And if they have the right instruction with it, or the right fun, because you do have to capture their attention. And I've worked with kids with ADD.
Yoga music and you just don't think of fun.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But some of the yoga music has changed a lot. You know, you have more jazzy, you have things that are more energetic. So there's a lot of different yoga music out there. And that's, again, the perception. And I'm going to have to get you to one of my classes, Jean.
I know I'm going to have to, so I can really talk better about this in our next show.
Yeah, because that, you know, people have a perception of, just like they do with chiropractic, and there's fear. There's fear of the unknown. And this is what I hear all the time. I can't touch my toes. If I'm not as good as the next person? I need to lose weight first. All these things are why you need to be in yoga. But getting back to the children, it is amazing to watch kids do yoga. And you can even do yoga, you know, there's mommy baby yoga, you know, and it's amazing to see, you know, a baby, and they feel the energy from the mom, and then the mom is taking care of themselves as well. Because you get that a lot too. I'm so busy with my kids, I can't get to class. I can't. Great. Then do it on television or get a book. And I, you know, you bring up the whole, I'm very big on interaction and communication. And one of the things that really saddens me with children today is, they're technologically way above where I am, and they're 5 years old. It's like mind blowing. But they're not playing in the streets like I used to.
No, they're not.
And they're rushing from, they have to be the best at soccer, and they have to be the best at, you know, ballet, and they have to be, and these kids grow up and they don't think enough of themselves or know enough about themselves because they've been pushed so hard. And so I actually designed a game. It's called the Yoga Game, and my idea was on a snowy day, or it was exactly what you said, or a rainy day, you know, the parents go, oh my God, what are we going to do with them today? Because usually they'll hand them one of the video games or put them on the computer so they don't have to deal with them. But no, play with them. And so I had this idea to create something that is for everybody, and you could play with your children, and it's fun, it brings laughter, and you're doing yoga.
And the kids end up liking it?
Yeah, totally, because there's all art-drawn cards, and they learn the poses, and there's a timer if you want to play, and it's also used for people that just want to learn yoga. So again, you know, I'm not here to sell all these things, but my passion is so strong that I want to create ways for anybody to do yoga and meditation.
Let's talk about yoga for seniors, because I saw in your profile that you really you have a whole side focus, right, on seniors and why yoga and meditation is so important for that age group as well. Can we talk about that?
Absolutely, let's. I think it's really important. I think that there's also the feeling of, I'm too old, I can't do this. And there is gentle yoga, and you know, that's why I design programs for different specialties. So when I'm working with seniors, obviously I'm not doing power yoga. And it's so important for seniors to be in tune to their body as well, because we start to not feel as good or not think as much of ourselves, or we're tired. And I'll tell you, it helps with tiredness. It helps with depression.
Well, and if you're increasing the circulation
Absolutely.
of the oxygen and the blood flow in your body, you're only going to feel better.
Right. And
no
your
matter
age
what
starts
condition you're in.
Right. And your age starts to get younger. So it's not how old we are age-wise, but the yoga it's so pertinent for seniors to be doing that.
There's a lot. I don't mean to keep cutting you off. There's a
No,
lot
please.
of things that you can't do when you get older, or
Right.
if you're disabled, or if you're just not feeling as well as you used to feel. But you can do a form of yoga.
Absolutely.
And stretching is always good. You know, we see that the muscles get contract
Absolutely.
as people age. And so I would imagine that stretching, I'm reaching my arms out right
Yes,
now,
yes.
even if that's all they do to stretch their arms, then they're feeling better and their movement is better. We're keeping those motor skills at
The
a
motor
heightened
skills are exactly. It's so
level.
important, and the movement, and there's chair yoga that I do. So when someone's a little older, you can do that movement in a chair, so you don't even have to be standing. And when arthritis sets in, it is so important to get those joints moving and those bones moving, and you feel better. And when I work with seniors, it's like afterwards you see a light on their face because they feel better and they're smiling and they're saying, thank you. I had no idea.
that this could feel so good.
Yes.
And that I could do it.
Yes.
Probably.
Yes.
Okay, so we've talked about yoga with parents and grandparents doing it with their children. We've talked about yoga with seniors. We've talked about what the benefits are because it helps the circulation and the blood flow and it stretches those muscles. And do you have any information regarding some of the statistics that maybe folks who are practicing yoga and meditation or separate and how that affects rates of disease down the line? Because everything you're saying is telling me this is really good for the body. I think we need
Yes.
to be a culture that embraces this a lot more than we do.
Right. And it builds up your immune system. So the statistics are so different for the different diseases, but let's just say, disease in general, it's between 85 and 90% that people are healing themselves through yoga. They're getting through diseases. I was just watching a yoga documentary, and it's amazing. There are, yoga for cancer, yoga for, just where people get together that have the same thing, the same thing, the same situation going on. Exactly. Thank you. and it is a healing sport. And I don't want to scare anyone by using the word sport, but it's also, I have to say, with meditation and breath, even teaching people to breathe better. A lot of people breathe backwards.
I want to talk about that. We have to take a quick break.
Okay.
But when we come back, I want to talk more about yoga disease specific and how it can heal. Because you said it's got a healing power. So
Right.
It's very important that we talk a little bit more in depth about that. And then I also want to talk about meditation. We really haven't gotten to that at all. And the breathing and why that's so important. I've been told that before. And I really have to focus on that. And that's such a simple way to help yourself. And I've even heard that you can change your breathing and lose weight. So
You can.
I can't wait to hear about that too, because of all ages, that's important.
Right.
So stay with us. We have to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to talk a lot more to Dr. Amy J. Hello, I'm Jean Pete, and I welcome you back to our show, Better Living. Better Living is brought to you by the Homestead Hope Foundation and is sponsored by Homestead Hospice, where commitment to education and premier hospice care helps patients and families through life's most important journey. Welcome back to Better Living. I'm here still with Dr. Amy Josephson. Dr. Amy, thanks for staying with us.
You're welcome, and I'm really excited to be here and help some people out there get more educated and give them more knowledge on what they might be afraid of.
Yeah, we talked about that and how even me, yoga, that word just is intimidating to me. What do you mean? One of those people?
Right, one of those freaks.
But I do want to just kind of summarize some of what we've been talking about, and that is how you are a chiropractor and how you started in the industry and how you know a lot about the body and the nervous system. And so let's kind of take a step back and tell folks again who you are and what your background is. And then we're going to talk about the importance of yoga, meditation, breathing, and how it can help with specific diseases like arthritis and other diseases in that family like fibromyalgia, and how a lot of the oncologists are also telling their patients to go and do yoga to help them fight the cancers that they're
absolutely
fighting.
And
so that was a lot in one question.
Right.
So let's start by talking about you and who you are and where you're with, and get some phone numbers and information out to everybody, and we'll take it step by step after that.
Okay, my name is Dr. Amy J. The doctor is a doctor of chiropractic. I am a life enhancement coach and yoga and meditation professional that goes to different homes, or people come to me, or I do corporate to really work with people. Form is huge. So many of us don't even breathe correctly. I could be reached at 770-394-6165 or 1-855-9 Dr. Amy J. My website is positiveenergy4life.com. And I can be reached on Facebook at Dr. Amy J. Just look up Dr. Amy J. and anybody could write if they have questions. I'd love to help and heal as many people out there that I can.
And you don't have a place, like there's not a place to go for yoga. You come to folks. Is
I
that
either
right?
go to folks or I have a home office.
And they come to you. Mm-hmm. Okay, I got it. So we've talked about how you can get in touch with you. Now we need to talk about the importance of why they need to get in touch with you.
Right.
So let's talk about some of the benefits of yoga and how that interacts in the body.
So yoga is so beneficial in so many ways. It increases your circulation. It increases your flexibility, your coordination. It helps with focus. Definitely corrects your posture. It helps with the blood flow in the body, and which helps us from, cure ourselves and heal ourselves from disease. It really, really helps with stress. There's so much stress out there. The list goes on. It is about bringing together your mind, body, and spirit. And I know sometimes when people hear that, or your mind, body, and soul, it kind of takes it to a level where people are like, okay, that's like freaky stuff. And, the irony is I laugh because, I got into chiropractic and people thought chiropractic was a weird thing. And then I started teaching yoga, and back when I started teaching yoga, they wouldn't even use yoga in certain gyms because they thought it was a religion. And then, life coaching, now I'm in that. And it's always those things that, or those professions that people don't believe in or they're afraid of. And I'm so about working into fear. And I just want to...
I think we're getting it, though. I remember
Totally.
chiropractor, oh, he's going to the chiropractor,
Right.
And now that's much more embraced now.
Oh,
It's
people
still not
love
where
it.
it needs to be, but that's much more embraced. And I hear people saying all the time, you need to go to my chiropractor. So
Right.
it's getting a little bit more in the general population.
In the medical world, yeah. Oh, and it definitely is. And now you have medical doctors referring to chiropractors. We have insurance coverage.
That's the key.
Yeah.
Even the insurance companies are recognizing how much chiropractic help can help reduce costs at the ER and in the hospitals because
Right.
they're taking care of it on a much less costly basis.
Right, which is what I would love for yoga therapy to be covered by insurance, because that is huge. And again, whether it's injuries or disease, yoga, you're moving your body, you're focusing on areas that really need help, but you're strengthening yourself inside and out. And that is, the connection that helps you function every day. And it takes away stress, relaxes your mind, so you're in a place that you're shutting out all that noise outside, and you're actually focusing on what you're doing. And the cool thing about yoga, I tie in my coaching a lot, even if I'm in a class, because I get a kick out of it. What I see people doing on the yoga mat, 99%, they're doing in their real lives. And what I mean by that is, let's say I take people into, a pose where their legs are supposed to be open, and they're, no matter how much you say take a wider stance, they keep it closer together. They're probably a quiet person, not open. It tells a lot about them. And, then the breathing, it's, you could see with that.
So wait.
Okay.
So if you've got them in the yoga studio and they start out real tight like that.
Right.
And they keep coming.
Right.
Do they get more and more and more open at yoga? And then
Yes.
could that then also be pertinent in their real life situation? Does it
Yes.
affect their personality?
Yes, because they get more confidence. So let's just say someone comes in and they can't touch the toes. And, it is remarkable because I have taught people up to 90 years old in the 90s, okay? And to go, oh my God, did you see I just did that? And I used to run yoga retreats up in the mountains, and from watching tears to laughter and people saying, I never thought I could do that. And then I say, and how many other things in your life do you think you can't do? And I say you can't say you can't. And the only time you could say you can't is that you can't say can't.
So it's a confidence builder as well.
Absolutely. It's remarkable. And it's remarkable, when you see somebody in their 50s or 60s and they're like, oh my God, did you see I just did that? And they've been coming for weeks on end and they don't give up. And there are a lot of men who have really tight hips, and, a lot of us are so tight, or we're rounded shoulders. And I see the differences. And same with chiropractic. It brings tears to my eyes, and it is so rewarding to watch the changes. And I've actually had students that had started yoga with me and said, and not that I want to pat myself on the back, but I put so much out there from my soul and my heart because I'm so passionate about it, and they're teaching today.
Oh, that's
like, how
great.
huge is that?
So a couple things that you said, because it's true. I know that there are doctors that are treating cancer patients and they're telling them, yoga might be a good way for you, not just for mind, for your body.
Absolutely.
But for your mind's sake
Right.
as well. It helps to calm you and keep you in fighting mode to heal.
Right.
And that's where I'm going to tie it in, because you keep mentioning yoga can heal your body.
Right.
I think that's where we might lose a lot of people, because you think about traditional medicine and you think about yoga as non-traditional. So let's help reel them in and help them understand, because I'm not even sure I'm there yet.
Okay.
How yoga can heal you. Can it really heal you from certain diseases?
Absolutely. When I used to hear, and I'm going to bring up the chiropractic, someone say we could cure cancer. I used to tell people it doesn't cure disease. Okay, what happens is you're working with the body. And so when we're doing yoga, we're working with your body and your mind. And you're shifting into different poses, and you're opening your heart and your life to something new. And that alone has an effect on the mental and emotional of your life. And I really believe that a lot of disease comes from emotional stuff that we carry for years. It starts, as a child. Most of it's from childhood. So we have to work through that. So yoga is another technique that you can work through these issues that you have. And, today it's great. On the internet, we have so much access. If you even go on and, whatever specific issue or disease or injury you have, you go on the internet, you could find how it helped, and for me, I'm trying to get the right words to explain how it helps, but you're working with movement of the body, and you're also working with stopping and focusing with the mind on something that is not for someone else, it's for yourself, but you're also...
Well, we do hear that, mind over matter. And, you hear all of these motivational speakers talk about if you think it and then you speak it and then it will be. And what is that called? Power?
Universal law.
Yeah. And power positive thinking.
Right.
That's a trendy, I think more
Big
people
time.
would
At my
understand
retreats
that.
used to be yoga with the power of positive
Power
thinking.
of positive thinking, and how that can affect how you're reacting to others, and then the reaction back is going to be more positive, and then that's just going to spawn a circle that's going to continue to be more positive.
Exactly.
And then we also know that being stressed all the time releases steroids and hormones within your body that do damage to your body. So I'm just trying to stay with you here, Dr. Amy.
No, you're doing great.
And so I'm looking now at yoga as a way to minimize the release of those stress hormones that affect your body in a negative way, and maximize the circulation of oxygen and blood flow within your body that helps keep your body clean and the movement in there, and get rid of all of those negative ingredients and oxidants and everything that's bad in your body. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so I guess I could see how yoga could help you heal, but you're not really going to heal a disease. You're going to
Heal yourself, and a disease might decrease in the aspect that it was.
Okay.
I mean, think about, there's so many
Or it
women
may make
today
your
that
body
have-
stronger,
Right.
which will enable you, with the medical treatment you're taking,
Right.
to get through the healing process.
Right. By no means am I saying don't take your medications and don't go to doctors and just do yoga, that you'll heal. Yoga is and I love the word that you used, ingredient. It's a strong ingredient to be able to get yourself in touch with yourself, and it is a timeout in a way. And let's just say you're running around and you're doing your busy schedule and you're going shopping and you're doing this, or you're home and you're really depressed, and all of a sudden, you see somebody hysterical laughing. Okay, let's say you're depressed and you see someone hysterical laughing. You're probably going to start to laugh, and you feel that contagious feeling, right? Well, that releases the endorphins, the proper endorphins in your body, and stimulates the mind to a positive place. And all of a sudden,
Endorphins. That's the word I was looking for.
oh, okay.
Okay, go ahead.
And it's a shift. It's a shift. And that's what happens with yoga. It's a shift. And also, we talked about stretching, when you are stretching the muscles and moving the bones, okay, you're now releasing pain, right? We're opening ourselves up to be able to move better. When we move better, we breathe better. When we breathe better, we do heal, because we're taking in oxygen. We're getting rid of
your body's stronger,
right,
to get better.
And you wanna bring in positive thoughts. That really helps a lot too. Some of the tips I say also to help heal is find a hobby you love and do it, or maybe something you used to do, whether it's art, whether it's needlepoint, something like that, or play with your grandkids or your children. I mean, these are the kind of things that take you outside of that, horrible stuff that might be happening to you.
You mentioned when your body feels better, you breathe better. When you breathe better, you feel better. So that's a circle that just keeps feeding itself.
Exactly.
I do want to talk about meditation.
Okay.
And how that comes into play. Are you meditating while you're doing yoga, or are you meditating in addition to doing yoga?
Meditating in addition to doing yoga.
Okay. And that's tough for me, because can everybody meditate? Can you
Yes.
teach everybody to meditate? Can you
Yes.
shut your brain off enough so that you can actually meditate?
Okay, so it might take a long time. I tell people, some people will get into it easier. Some people, you'll sit and your mind is racing and you're thinking about all these things you have to do. Like I will say, I can't stand when I'm sitting there trying to meditate, because I know that I've had amazing meditation practices, but when I'm having trouble with it, it's so frustrating. But that's part of meditation. It's a practice. And you know what? Life is a practice too.
And where can you meditate? How long do you have to meditate? Is this something you can do in the car on your way to work, or do you have to be sitting or get to work and park for 5 minutes, or do you need to give yourself a half hour? How do we help people start meditating?
I say start for 3 to 5 minutes. How long is that to start? And you want to focus on your breathing. When your head starts going somewhere else, go back to your breath. And I want to talk about this here, because this is really huge. When you breathe in, your stomach should expand. So I always tell people, remember like a balloon, when you put the air in the balloon expands. So when you breathe in, you want your stomach to expand. When you exhale and let go, you want to bring that belly button all the way into the back of the spine. You want to let all that air go. When you breathe in, you want to breathe in positive thoughts and fill your body with good things. When you breathe out, you want to get rid of negative energy, negative thoughts, things that don't serve you. These are some of the things that I
And it's
teach.
funny because as you're talking, I'm thinking, doesn't my stomach go out when
Right.
I exhale and in when I inhale? Am I doing it backwards? Do a lot of people breathe backwards?
Exactly, yes. And that is, it is, I have worked with some people breathing session after session. And I always give.
Do y'all want to take a deep breath right now? Because I kind of do.
Sorry. I know it can be very overwhelming. And a lot of times, I give the example when you see those really, skinny women and they have the popped out belly, it's because they've been breathing backwards. So when they're breathing in, when they're breathing out, they're tightening their stomach, and it's kind of like a sit-up. When you breathe out, you want to pull your stomach in so you tighten the muscles, and that's how it gets flat. So you want to use that balloon scenario. So when you forget, and it takes time. And now meditation, you asked me, I like to say, no, don't do it while you're driving.
Okay.
But can you park 5 minutes before you go into work? Absolutely. And just shut your car off and just sit there and just be. Just be a human being instead of a human doing. I love that saying, for a change. And try to get quiet. And if you can't and the breath isn't working for you, then think of a place that you love to be and take yourself with your mind to that ocean that you love. And you'll feel your whole body is going to start slowing down.
Okay, so I want to just kind of bring people back to practical ways that they can start meditating. Because as you're speaking, I'm thinking of myself at work. Okay. And other people that I work with.
Right.
And let's say they get a phone call.
Right.
And it upsets them. Mm-hmm. We're in healthcare. So somebody maybe calls and complains and then they hang up the phone. And what do? They want to go vent. So they find somebody and they go vent to somebody about that phone call that they just had.
Right.
I'm thinking that's probably the perfect time to get yourself back centered. That's the perfect time to hang up that phone and say, I'm going to take 3 minutes here.
Right.
And I'm going to focus on my breathing and I'm going to focus on
Just being.
so that I can better handle this situation. And then you're probably less likely to vent because you're going to take 3 to 5 minutes to vent anyway.
Right.
And then people
you build up
perceive you differently,
Right.
especially I'm thinking of leaders.
Right.
Because you're now handling your situations in a calmer manner.
Right.
And they see you handling it, and then they're less likely to vent. I mean, I can see how this could be a snowball affecting even the dynamics in a workforce.
Totally.
Yeah. So when you go to the corporate places that you go to, is that kind of how you pull them in? And do you
I'm
see
not sure.
that? Do you see that in your corporate practices, that people are now working better together as
Yes.
well as getting healthier?
Yes. I mean, I've also, done ropes courses, which are challenge courses. And life is a challenge, right? And you don't have to be high up on a ropes course or a totem pole to make a difference in your life. And it is so. Repeat your question. I'm sorry.
Well, even parenting. I was thinking about my life at work and some of the folks.
Right.
But even parenting, you have that one situation occur. If you can meditate in 3 to 5. See, I thought you had to go somewhere and meditate for a half hour. But if you
Right.
can meditate in 3 to 5 minutes.
Yes, it's a
you
start.
can go into the bathroom, even if you're just sitting on the toilet with the door closed.
Right.
And for 3 to 5 minutes, just practice breathing. And, people say that a lot. Breathe. Just breathe.
Right.
Then you're going to be a better parent. You're going to be a better worker. You're going to be a better leader.
Right, which I talked about, when we talked about earlier, I said that when I pause and take a time out and I process,
It's a timeout. That makes some more sense now.
then I react differently. And then the way I react, other people react differently towards me.
Very good. Very good. Important information. But I don't want to leave this show today without talking about how it can help. We target we have a lot of audience that's older adults and seniors as well.
Right.
And so one thing that you said early on in the show was how you help people with arthritis.
Right.
And I want to talk about that because that's so prevalent in our senior population. And as I say the word arthritis, all I can visualize is fingers contracting.
And swelling.
And swelling and pain. And, you know, I have some in my fingers, and it does run in my family. So how can yoga and everything we've been talking about today help folks with arthritis and other diseases in that family?
You know, what one very important thing that I didn't mention is called the joint. And our body has joints all over it. And that arthritis is a joint disease. Fibromyalgia is another big one that hits younger people, but also a lot of seniors have from not moving so much, and they don't know where it comes from, but your muscles tighten. It's very painful. And so we have to use, and I will use stretch as yoga too, as another word, if it makes more sense or it's easier to comprehend or less scary. Stretching, opening up those joints and movement in the muscles is what you need, because you need circulation. You're completely stuck.
And wouldn't it hurt to move?
Well, it'll hurt to move, but you want to use gentle movements, because after you start to move, did you ever have you ever wake up and you're sore, you have a Charlie horse, and you start to walk around, all of a sudden your blood's flowing. That's what we want to do, is we want to get the blood flowing more and the circulation going better. And that is what's going to help the movement. It's not going to get rid of arthritis, but you'll be able to move more.
I see.
And that's huge. And it does. It has to do with the circulation and in arthritis, very specifically the joints.
Excellent, excellent. Because we do have such a large population of patients and people out there that do have arthritis and other diseases that do cause them to contract. And so yoga, I could see such a benefit, even thinking about our patients in nursing homes, because, I'm in healthcare,
right, and
that
I work
may
with
have dementia.
Right.
And a part of that is that their muscle tone decreases, and then we see them contracting. Their
Right.
arms get closer to their body, and it's harder for them to move. So even, I don't think that they can do the mind part of yoga, but the stretching, I like the way that you said yoga, we can call it stretching,
Right.
could help them as well,
But
in their daily life.
Yes,
Feel better.
and believe it or not, that affects the mind.
And that would affect the mind.
Right. So it's not necessarily a conscious effort to change something with your mind.
Wonderful. Very, very good information today. But before we end, I want you to give your phone number and your website one more time.
Okay, my website is Positive Energy, just like it's spelled, Positive Energy, 4life.com. You could also, my other website is theyogagame.net. So that's positiveenergyforlife.com, theyogagame.net. You could reach me at 855-9 Dr. Amy J. Facebook, just Facebook Dr. Amy J. You can always find me on there, and I'm here for you if you need me.
And that yoga game, we really didn't get to talk to you, but I do encourage you all to go to her website, because it talks about learning this yoga we've talked about all day at your own pace, and it's something you can play with others. It creates laughter. It can help bring families together and seniors with their grandchildren, and
Absolutely.
bonding, and that's all good for better living, which is what this show is all about. I'm Jeannie Pete. Thanks for listening. Have a blessed day and week ahead, and listen here same time next week and every week. Homestead Hope Foundation is your resource for a healthy life. God bless.